welcome you here this evening on behalf of the Sir Roland Foundation. As we meet here tonight on the traditional lands of the First People, let us pay our respect to the memorial that's past and present. My name is Martine Cosgrove. I'm a Sir Roland Wilson PhD scholar in the Research School of Population Health here at the ANU. The Sir Roland Wilson Foundation was established at the ANU in 1998 by a gift from the Wilson family, co-funded by the ANU to promote dialogue between academia and the public sector, as well as research interests in policy. In 2011, the Foundation embarked on a significant initiative in partnership with Commonwealth to award PhD scholarships to senior Commonwealth public servants to pursue research in topics of enduring national and public interest. The Foundation now has over 20 scholars in the program, and I'm very fortunate to be on with them. The Foundation also sponsors public lectures and events like this to promote informed discourse on matters of importance to public policy and administration. I'd like to introduce John Heer, who will speak with us tonight about the keys to successful leadership. John is passionate about business excellence, people and well-being. And he has an extraordinary track record of success as a CEO in the health sector in America, delivering not just the traditional business outcomes we all hope for, productivity and profit, but also improving the workplace conditions for the people. A workforce led by him scored in the 99th percentile in employee engagement, in the 90th percentile of work satisfaction, and also produced scores in the 99th percentile for customer satisfaction, which is remarkable. At the same time, together he and the workforce increased company by more than 142%. The success of his leadership practice has led to several awards, and to name just three of many, John is the world's only CEO to have won the Baldrige National Quality Award 3 times. His organisation was rated as one of Fortune magazine's 100 best companies to work for 3 years in a row. And this year, John was individually recognised with the Harry S. Hertz Leadership Award. So I had an opportunity to be with John yesterday through a series of meetings with the Department of Defence. And it seems that according to him, the pathway to business success is through culture and engagement, which is established by strong and humble leadership. If you get this right, everything else follows. He will talk with us tonight about the core elements of creating business success through people and the leadership qualities needed to achieve this. Being people first and leaders or workers second, we know firsthand and personally that people matter. In Australia, low workforce wellbeing costs industry $11 billion annually. This makes intuitive sense to anybody who's had a bad day at work or worked under a difficult boss or in poor conditions. Just yesterday, Jeff Kennett called for industry leaders and heads of government agencies to give the mental health of the workforce the same priority as the usual measures of success, which I mentioned, productivity and profits. So I'm personally pleased by this turn in the discourse about leadership, and I'm also sometimes perplexed by how we are to make the organisations we lead and working effective and healthy. So it's very fortunate and timely that John is here to speak with us tonight. He's a practitioner of servant leadership, and he has proven that it is possible to achieve both the challenges set by Mr. Kennett. He's here tonight to share with us the secrets of his success. He'll speak with us for about 30 minutes, and afterwards we'll have time for some questions. So please make him welcome.
Well, it's a real pleasure to be here tonight, and I do want to comment very quickly on your statement about the mental health of the employees. And as you see as we go through the talk tonight, that a major component of what it is that I focused on for a number of years. I was in healthcare leadership for 28 years. is the well-being of the employees. And what I figured out after graduate school, I had an undergraduate degree in accounting and data processing, quantitative analysis, so a lot of statistical numbers and things like that. Had a graduate degree in healthcare administration, which again was about a lot of numbers and practices and things. And what I discovered when I graduated was that I felt like I was prepared to lead in an organization. And so in my first job, I had what I thought was a great program to be implemented for patient satisfaction, and rolled that out, and about 2 or 3 weeks later realized that it had fallen flat on its face. And I kind of scratched my head and wondered, well, it's such a great idea, why didn't it work? And as I started talking and thinking and trying to figure out exactly why it didn't work, what I figured out was that I had not engaged the staff. In other words, it was just another program to them, and unfortunately they chose that that was not something that they wanted to pursue. So at that point I realized the importance of employee engagement, fortunately very early in my career. I had some good mentors along the way that gave me ideas of how to do that very early in my career. The other thing that I realized was I wish I would have gotten a degree in psychology as well, because what I figured out was most of the stuff that I did every day wasn't related to the statistics and the numbers and those types of things, but it was the psychology of dealing with human beings. So, I kind of kicked myself in the rear because I said, I wish I would have understood where people are coming from a lot better than I did. And so I sort of had to do on-the-job training to learn about things like passive-aggressive behavior, people that had other, things like anxiety or stress, or all the psychological things that can come along with us as human beings, because they impacted our ability as leaders to effectively engage the employees. And so what I'd like to do tonight is talk a little bit, a story about how I came to be employed at North Mississippi Health Services. And what I'm going to do as I go through the story is weave through the concepts of, secrets of a successful leader. What I actually call my presentation is culture, it's not the soft stuff. The reason that I came up with that title for my talks is that in the United States, for a few years, there's been this huge debate about which is more important in an organization, culture or leadership. And if you ask me that question, I would say both. Because you have to have a great culture, engaged employees that are fired up coming to work every day, in order to develop the strategies that you need for the organization. Because if you develop strategies without culture, they won't go anywhere. But if you have culture without strategies, then your culture will suffer. So you have to actually be doing both of those at the same time. So let's go into the story about my interview process with North Mississippi. When I was at Baptist Hospital in Pensacola from 1999 to 2003, we actually had moved our patient satisfaction to being the #1 hospital in the Prescini database, which was about 1,500 hospitals. So we were the #1, not the first percentile, but the top scoring hospital for 5 straight years. Every single month we were the top scoring hospital. So that's pretty good results in and of itself. We also moved the employee satisfaction from less than the 50th percentile up to the 99th percentile. So I had some good background. We've done a lot of good things, and so I had a management recruiter call me and asked me if I would be interested in interviewing for a job in Tupelo, Mississippi. And quite honestly, the first thing I said was, where is Tupelo, Mississippi? And he explained it to me, of course, and I looked it up on a map, and I said, well, that's not far from Memphis, which is where I actually grew up, and a lot closer to my wife, Pollyanna, who's sitting in the audience, and my parents and our extended family. So we thought, well, we're living 11 hours away. If we lived in Tupelo, it would only be 4 or 5 hours away. That's a lot closer. parents aging and all that kind of stuff, and the grandkids and all. And we thought, well, that'd be nicer to be closer. But as we talked about it, we sort of decided, no, we really don't want to move from Pensacola, because Pensacola is beautiful. White, they should call it sugar sand beaches, beautiful turquoise, emerald green colored water, just a really, really great climate, and we had everything set up there, the kids in school and all that kind of stuff. It was a great job. And so we kept asking ourselves, well, why would we move to Tupelo? So the recruiter called me 2 or 3 more times, and finally I said, well, I was thinking to myself, I called him up one day, and after Colleen and I talked, and I said, well, we'd like to at least go for one interview. And it just so happened that he was sitting in his car in the parking lot getting ready to go present the final slate of candidates to the search committee of the board. And he said, well, I don't have any of your information with me, but I will mention your name because they did see your resume and they were interested in you coming up. So he went up to the search committee and they had their discussions, and the search committee said, yeah, have him come up. So I went up to Tupelo, and quite honestly wasn't real impressed with the airport. It wasn't much of an airport. Just to give you an idea, I was waiting in line to get a car, which there was one car rental in Hertz at the time. And I heard this, what sounded like a garage door opening, and it was the baggage claim area. So it wasn't even a full-size garage door, it was a little mini garage door, and they open up the door and they throw your bags out into the floor. So that was baggage claim in Tupelo. So I didn't have a real good impression. Went to the hotel, and actually they'd had a tornado back in the, I believe, 50s or something like that. So there'd been a lot of rebuilding and trying to keep up the community. So I'm driving down, I was like, well, this isn't too bad, nice restaurants, and they had a lot of the chain restaurants, and the hotel was very nice, that I went to, and